Richard Newton. General, thank you so much for your time again. We know that Iran is rejecting this pressure to stand down from retaliation, accusing Israel of violating Iran's sovereignty and territorial integrity. We also know the U.S. has shifted resources as a deterrent, dispatching a guided missile submarine. That's all what has been made public. What all is happening behind the scenes right now when it comes to possibly dealing with retaliation?
Well, certainly, let's take the Iranian side first. I believe Iran is planning rather carefully a comprehensive attack, which they're trying to suspect a significant blow to Israel from a military standpoint. They're planning with Hezbollah, to the north of Israel and Lebanon. They have a significant, certainly, a missile and drone arsenal, up to 150,000 of those projectiles. They could also be involving the Houthis down in Yemen and around the Red Sea. So what I think the reason for the delay right now is to plan that coordinated attack against Israel, which I suspect will be a military target, much more so than what we saw on the 13th of April. I think you will see it not just in terms of one blow or one wave, but perhaps two or multiple waves. Now, what the United States is trying to do is working very hard to work this diplomatically. We've sent our lead negotiator, William Burns, is in the area. He's the director of the CIA, to now try to focus on the ceasefire talks, to use that as leverage with Iran, but that's not coming to fruition. In the background, I don't know if it's been publicly put, but the leaders of France, Germany, and the United Kingdom signed a memo to Iran asking them to stand down. But Iran's staying put. I believe the attack is imminent. Imminent could be within hours. And as you alluded to, perhaps by this Thursday, which is a targeted date for the perhaps ceasefire talks to resume with the United States, Israel, and perhaps Hezbollah, although disregard Hamas. But they seem to be walking away from those talks already.
All right, so National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby, he told reporters that we have to be prepared for what could be a significant set of attacks. My question for you, realistically, what could those attacks actually look like? I know you talked about two possible waves, but when we look at what happened in April, Israel was, easily able to sustain those attacks.
They were, because the Iron Dome, and also with the support of the United States and other allies to shoot down those incoming missiles and drones. I think what you'll see first is perhaps an attack, let's say by Iran, same scope, perhaps even more robust that we saw on the 13th of April, as we're seeing right here on our screen. But then also to compound, however, the Iron Dome and the defense of Israel with their anti-weapon and anti-missile defense, you could also see waves of attacks from Hezbollah. It would be missiles, rockets, and drones. That would be very compounding, much more difficult than we saw on the 13th of April. And then follow that up with perhaps attacks, missile attacks, cruise missile attacks from the Houthis to the south. Let's not also forget that Iran and their terrorist proxies, let's not forget that they also have terrorist proxies in Iraq and Syria that will put in harm's way American men and women, our forces. We've got 40,000 men and women in uniform from the United States in the Mideast, plus our diplomatic posts. So they could also put U.S. men and women in harm's way also, which would make it a very complicated scenario. So it's a lot here that is at Iran's disposal. I believe they're in the process now of perhaps going beyond the decision to go or not to go, but now actually planning the attack and coordinating the attack, Nichole.
All right, my last question for you. We're running out of time, but I have to ask, because there's another, major war happening, Russia and Ukraine. Putin is now vowing to kick Ukraine out of Russia after its recent assault. What is Ukraine's goal here? Are we on the verge of a major escalation in that region as well?
I don't believe so, but I can tell you this. This is, again, Russia invading Ukraine. It was the largest land invasion since World War II. It's been a very difficult battle for the last couple of years. However, Ukraine, having just invaded literally up to about 20 miles of southern Russia, that's the first time Russia's ever been invaded since World War II. So what's significant here is a couple things. Number one, President Zelensky, morale for the Ukrainian people because it's been a very difficult last couple of years. Secondly, he's making sure that Putin understands that he has a viable military capability. That Putin cannot just presume now that Russia is a sanctuary, that he can actually invade, albeit up to just 20 miles or so, but that's significant, certainly from a tactical aspect of it. The third is, as Zelensky is trying to shore up support, telling not only his Ukrainian people, but Putin, but also his supporters in U.S. and NATO, that he's got capabilities, that he understands that if likely, perhaps this is my conjecture, but if there's going to be any negotiated settlement, or at least beginnings of negotiations in 2025, Zelensky's trying to set the conditions. And those conditions are, if he takes just a little bit of Russia, that's great leverage for him. And so that's really what's going on here, I believe. I don't anticipate this to make it a major threat to Moscow per se, but this is significant. This is putting Zelensky in Ukraine, not necessarily just on the defense, Nichole, but on the offense now also.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.